Quickly, I want to deal with Richard Dawkins and his religious atheism and the creation of the QAnon cult and other, how can I put this, conspiracy theories that persist and I believe have exploded due to, now I'm not going to say that religious atheism is responsible for it, and I know a lot of people are going to tell me I'm wrong to call Richard Dawkins a religious atheist, but that's what he created, was a new religion of atheism that allows for the same black and white thinking as Catholicism or any other major religion. For example, a lot of people will say creationism's right because that's what the Bible says. Okay? So, but the thing is with Richard Dawkins is it doesn't stop at evolution. If it stopped at evolution, that'd be fine. Unfortunately, it pushes this secular humanistic nonsense that even Richard Dawkins didn't agree with. Richard Dawkins did agree with eugenics. Okay? There's no way you can't really agree with eugenics because it's scientifically true. I'm a member of the Galton Institute. Unfortunately, I can't get to England to go to any of their meetings, but I'm a member of the Galton Institute. Which is a not-for-profit that promotes eugenics that was founded by Darwin's family, or Francis Galton's family, I should say. But my point is what Richard Dawkins promotes is a money-making scheme to promote more money-making scheme to get converts to his black and white thinking. And what I mean by this is, for example, like Catholicism, a lot of Catholics think they're very smart. And why do they think they're very smart? Because they agree with all of the dictates of the Vatican. So they must be very smart, because very smart people in the Vatican made those dictates. In fact, maybe those dictates came from God himself, according to these people. And if you ask these religious atheists, they'll go, don't you understand, dumbass? Global warming is real because of science. Science, dumbass. You're just dumb. You don't question things. And if you do question things, you're not asking the right questions. And you can't debate global warming science because it's science, dumbass. Okay? And that's just what goes on. They're the opposite of a skeptic. They're an idiot, is what they are. These are the same people that would join anything else that requires black and white thinking. A lot of us, I used to be involved with paganism, European paganism, for cultural reasons primarily, not really religious reasons, but cultural reasons. And you get the same black and white thinking amongst those morons. And they'll be like, well, Rome is bad because Rome is bad, and Christianity is bad because the burning times, Okay, so religion equals black and white thinking. Whether you want to call that religion atheism, or Catholicism, or paganism, or global warming, it really does, or climate change, or environmentalism, or whatever you want to call it, it's a religion, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not one to tell anybody what cult they can or cannot believe in. I believe in freedom of religion. What I don't believe, though, is that people should be held up as intellectuals, because certain intellectuals, people that generally think normally and healthfully, are being seduced by this black and white thinking because it's just plain easier. It's easier to say global warming because of science, you freaking dumbass, okay, than it is to actually pick it apart. Numerous people, I have my concerns regarding the vaccine that just came out. I have concerns about it. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I try to stay up to date as much as possible on all of my vaccines. Tetanus, pertussis, pneumonia, etc. I don't get a flu vaccine because it's not a very effective vaccine. It just isn't. Okay? If you really look at the science, it's not a very effective vaccine. Although the liberals will say, yes it is, it works, no, It really doesn't. It's not look at the science and then see what it says. I get other vaccines because they work. Okay, I'm not going to say that smallpox was not eradicated with the smallpox vaccine. I'm not going to say that tetanus has virtually been eliminated because of the tetanus vaccine, at least in the first world. There are mumps, rubella, etc. The vaccines are great, but it seems like the over exuberance of the vaccine makers for this current vaccine are a little disturbing, considering it doesn't seem to stop you from getting it. It doesn't seem to stop you from spreading it. And at the most, it seems like it might reduce symptoms. Okay? Not definitely, might reduce symptoms. It might reduce symptoms. And remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Please don't take this video as medical advice. This is just my opinion. I recommend people do their own research. But the fact of the matter is, having legitimate questions and being pro-vaccine is part of the religious atheism cult. There are certain pillars of their faith. Evolution is immutable, which I actually agree. Evolution is immutable. I think there's some holes in the story, but I do believe in evolution. I'm a strong believer in evolution. Number one, evolution is immutable. Global warming and climate change are real dumbass. And they're happening because of CO2, and we're just going to ignore that carbon cycle because only stupid people ask questions. Okay, that's number two. Number three, you can be as big of a sexual pervert as you want. That's number three. That's part of this religious atheism. Abortion is a human right. Okay, that's another thing that's part of this religious atheism. And it just goes on from there. And also basically other religions that aren't Christianity, especially things like neo-paganism and occultism and things like that, they're cool, unless we want to make fun of them. And then we make fun of them. That's another pillar of religious atheism. My point is that this type of black and white thinking and stupidity is what has allowed things like QAnon to rise up and has allowed people to be like, look, dumbass, it's on the internet, so it must be true. You know, like, Trump's gonna rise up and the great storm is coming. The fact of the matter is that this kind of primed the collective mind for stupidity. It has helped to dull down the human mind and the human will, especially in the United States. I know for a fact in the United States, people are a lot stupider in my age group and the age groups younger. I mean, than my parents' age group, certainly stupider than my grandparents' age group. And I would assume much, much stupider than my great-grandparents' age group. It seems like and it's not necessarily based on IQ. Some of these people are honestly not stupid people in the sense that their brain works okay. They're just not, despite having access to all the information they could possibly have access to, they're not using it. They're not using this information due to social pressure and due to brainwashing. And it's primarily due to social pressure. But I mean, it is ridiculous. And I do believe that what has caused this is the human mind is hardwired to believe in something greater than itself. Okay, that's the truth. That is the immutable truth. The human mind is hardwired to believe in something greater than itself. So when we got rid of religion and did not replace it with something else, Nietzsche warned us about this. Nietzsche wanted religion replaced with the humanities and with morality, true morality. Now, Nietzsche warned us, but this is what happens when you don't replace religion with something else. People start believing in nonsense because it's easier. It's much easier to believe in a black and white worldview than it is. This is why everybody believes in anti-government conspiracies. Well, the government's out to get you because, duh, they just are. If you ever talk to a conspiracy theorist, they're very black and white. They do not allow for any nuance or shades of gray, I would say. They only see things their way. And if you don't see things their way, you're a member of the conspiracy. That's how it works. That's unfortunately very common now. That used to be, when I was a kid, that used to be the crazy guy that we would all laugh at. There's now more of them than there is of the other people that are asking important questions and trying to get to the bottom of things. Are there conspiracies? Of course there are conspiracies. People conspire against other people and conspire against other groups of people. The government conspires against the people. People conspire against the government. Conspiracies are real. Okay? But that doesn't mean all people that put together the shabbiest, nonsensical claims are true, or that their claims are correct, because they're usually not. Climate change, I think, is an obvious conspiracy. It's a depopulation conspiracy, and it's also a good way to make money by selling nonsense. It's also a good way to weaken and destabilize certain countries. And what's funny is people don't understand. Like, I'm for clean energy. I'm for green energy. I'm for renewable energy. I'm for cleaning up pollution. I'm for conservation. And then people go, well, then why don't you believe in global warming? And I'll say, because it's not happening. And this is the thing that got me with global warming. To believe in anthropogenic global warming, you would have to stop believing in the different geological and climatic ages of the Earth. The heating and cooling that took place before the human species evolved, and also the heating and cooling that took place after the human species had developed industry. You would have to throw out everything we know about the history of the Earth and the history of the human species' interaction with the Earth to believe the current concepts of anthropogenic global warming that allegedly just magically started happening in the late 1800s. You would have to throw out everything we know about the human being's interaction with the environment. The other thing I don't like is it separates the human animal from nature. And that you could say that's ideological, but it's not. The human animal is as much a part of nature as a buffalo, as a salmon, as a termite. And I think that the concept of anthropogenic global warming is very egotistical. It's very, I am a speciesist, as they say. Now, let me put this out so that people understand this. I am an ethical vegan due to my understanding that humanity has intellect, has choice, has the ability to make choice. A lion does not. I would not try to feed a lion tofu just like I don't try to make my cats into vegans. I give my cats beef liver to make them strong and healthy. Okay? I do not consume beef liver because I'm not a cat. Okay? So my point is that anthropogenic global warming is against, it's a pro-speciesist movement in a way, if you will. Whereas I know humankind is above other animals due to our unique intellect that has made us, unfortunately, the most ferocious predator of all of the animal kingdom, and has put us at the top of the food chain, which is a good thing in a way, because we're humans. We should like the fact that we're at the top of the food chain. But the fact of the matter is, we also have the choice to not participate in the eating of other animals' flesh. But we are still animals. We are still part of nature. And that is the thing, is I think anthropogenic global warming, making it seem as though humanity is somehow an alien life form, is a really stupid move. if you're trying to make people understand their role in the stewardship of the earth. Okay? We should be practicing good stewardship because this is our home, and this is, in a sense, and I'm not getting religious here, but in a sense, this is our creator. The universe you know what I'm saying? And that's what you're getting away from when you try and make it sound like humanity is some kind of foreign entity that's just destructive. It also gets rid of the concept of conservation, because conservation is necessary to preserve the natural environment. If you like a stream, you have to keep dredging it, or it'll eventually become a wetland. And eventually it will probably become a desert if you don't do nothing over many, many millennia. My point is that if you're willing to accept humanity's responsibility for the environment, you also have to be willing to accept the fact that, humanity is an animal just as much as any other animal, and that we have been interacting with the world for millennia, and that those interactions somehow magically just started making mild changes compared to the changes that came before us and before industry. Very mild changes came about after industry was created. And then somehow how do you correlate that to the beginning and end of the Ice Age? Okay? Or other huge climactic changes in this Earth's history. You can't do it. It's stupidity to do that. And that's all for this video. I'm going to leave some links this is an opinion video. Okay, but I am going to leave some links in the description for folks to follow. And remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse, not a physician, not a virologist, not a scientist, nothing like that. So don't take anything I said as medical advice in this video.